In this video, we will explore the main faults and error codes in carrier refrigeration systems for trucks. 1. Low engine oil pressure. This fault is identified with code AL0 and occurs when the oil pressure falls below safe levels. Possible causes include insufficient oil level, a faulty oil pump, or a clogged filter. 2. High engine temperature driving the refrigeration system compressor. This fault is identified with code AL1 and occurs when the engine powering the compressor exceeds its safe temperature, possibly due to a low coolant level. The main causes include thermostat failures, fan issues, or blockages in the radiator. 3. High pressure in the refrigeration system. This fault is identified with code AL2 and may be caused by obstructions in the condenser's airflow, excessive refrigerant, or compressor issues. It is recommended to check the condenser's cleanliness and verify the refrigerant gas charge. 4. Engine start failure driving the refrigeration system compressor. This fault is identified with code AL3 and occurs when the engine fails to start after several attempts. Common causes include a discharged battery, fuel supply problems, or damaged fuses. It is recommended to inspect the battery, fuel level, and fuses. 5. Low battery voltage. This fault is identified with code AL4 and occurs when the battery voltage drops below 10 volts DC, affecting system performance. This could be due to poor connections or a discharged battery. 6. Excessive battery voltage. This fault is identified with code AL5 and occurs when the voltage is too high, potentially damaging electrical components. It is recommended to check the voltage regulator and alternator using a multimeter. 7. Incomplete defrost cycle. This fault is identified with code AL6 and could indicate issues with the temperature sensor, airflow blockages in the refrigeration system, or direct failures in the defrost process. It is recommended first to inspect the sensors, airflow through the internal unit coil, and verify the defrost system. 8. Alternator failure. Identified with code AL7, this fault occurs when the alternator does not provide the expected signal while the engine is running or in standby power mode. It is recommended to check the alternator and its connections. 9. Diesel engine starter signal not detected. This fault is identified with code AL8 and may be due to solenoid or electrical connection failures. It is recommended to check the starter solenoid and its wiring. 10. Return air sensor failure. This fault is identified with code AL9, and this issue can cause the unit to shut down. It is recommended to check the sensor and its connections. To test the sensor, disconnect it and use a multimeter on the kiloohm scale. The measured value should never be 0 or infinite, and the resistance should match the manufacturer's manual table. 11. Supply air sensor failure. This fault is identified with code AL10, indicating that the sensor is not operating correctly. It is recommended to check the sensor and its connections. To test the sensor, disconnect it and use a multimeter on the kiloohm scale. The measured value should never be 0 or infinite, and the resistance should match the manufacturer's manual table. 12. Antifreeze sensor failure. This fault is identified with code AL11. This sensor monitors the evaporator's temperature to prevent system freezing. When an anomaly is detected, the system generates this code as a protective measure. It is recommended to check the sensor and its connections. To test the sensor, disconnect it and use a multimeter on the kiloohm scale. The measured value should never be 0 or infinite, and the resistance should match the manufacturer's manual table.